Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris. I am diving into an article that I just wrote on the website that some of you may be interested in. And I know as a sneaker website, people don't tend to associate Birkenstock with the sneaker industry, but they do collabs that generate just as much hype and energy as anything any sneaker brand does. And more important, we own a lot of Birkenstocks in our house because we have athletes who have bad feet. But seriously, my wife loves her pair. My daughter uses hers for recovery. I am a Kyoto fan, and I don't even know if I said that correctly, but I love that shoe. But the article that I wrote over here to the side, you see it, is 5 reasons the Birkenstock IPO will be the best footwear and apparel launch in the industry. Now, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm a huge fan of Prof G podcast and Professor Galloway and Ed, who run that show. So on a recent episode of the Prof G podcast, Ed and the Professor Scott, discussed Birkenstock's impending IPO. While Professor G was really excited about the IPO, Ed wasn't. Now there's a reason. Neither of these guys are super informed on the sneaker and footwear industry in that way, and Prof G didn't even have super deep insight other than the fact that everyone in his family owns a pair. Now, he did raise one interesting discussion point that a lot of people probably overlooked and didn't pay attention to, and that was a point that I talk about on Arch all the time in regard to Birkenstock. Now, back in 2016, I wrote this article, and I'm going to open this up in a new tab so you can see it. It was about Birkenstock, Amazon brand registry, and cutting the strings. And this was, like I said, written back 6 years ago. So it's an older article, but it's one of those super important factors that a lot of people don't understand. And one of the weird things is I was speaking to a brand recently and I told them to actually put their shoes on Amazon. And then I was like, nah, don't do that. Amazon and the brand registry. So when a brand opens up a registry on Amazon, it means that they can control the listings, right? Now, the problem is Amazon at one point had allowed a bunch of fake Birkenstocks onto the site. I won't even call them Birkenstocks, a bunch of fake shoes that wanted to pretend to be Birks. Birkenstock went in and pulled everything from Amazon. Now, that's the biggest marketplace, online marketplace in the world. And the fact that the company did that, it was groundbreaking. Now, people talk about Nike ending their relationship with Amazon, but that was a pilot program, and that didn't happen until about 4 to 5 years after Birkenstock had already pretty much renounced Amazon as a platform. So that Amazon exit, when Professor G raised that, you didn't have to be a sneaker industry expert to understand the importance of Birkenstock leaving Amazon. The move by the brand showed how they understand their customer. It also showed they had complete control, just amazingly great control, and I'm stammering, of their supply chain and their inventory. They knew what was theirs and what wasn't, and they did not appreciate it. That Amazon was not monitoring the number of fake sneakers on their website. Now, here's something that's really interesting. I wrote an article, and I have to type this in, so bear with me. Allbirds, and it's not third party that I'm looking for. Les Moutons, right? And I'm going to hit return there because I want this to open up. And I wrote a post, and I want to make sure I'm opening the right one. So I'm opening up all 3 of these posts, and then I'm going to go through them because I sat down and I wrote this post. I'm going to put it in the description so you guys can see it. Allbirds, the stock price for Allbirds, you see this 502 that's over here next to me. It's all the way down to $2 or $3 now. I don't even think it's there. I can't remember what it was, and I don't want to misspeak. But I explained in great detail why Allbirds was in trouble. And I did this a while back. Now, I attempted to send it to the brand, but they didn't take it and I couldn't connect with anyone who would respond. But I showed that Les Moutons on Amazon with their 206 collective wool sneakers, they were selling these shoes at such a high rate. There were thousands of these fake Allbirds on Amazon. And undoubtedly, this affects the company. Now, Allbirds attempted to right that problem by not making such a generic looking shoe. There were more than 3 to 4 different brands on Amazon that looked exactly like Allbirds. Why am I bringing that up? This IPO that's coming up is super important, and I want to make sure people realize why I'm saying this is not like Allbirds. This is quite possibly the best IPO to arrive in the sneaker, shoe, footwear, and apparel space that we will have seen in years. Even better than On Running. Now, I'm not a licensed analyst of some type. I don't have any shares that I've purchased from Allbirds, not lost. I don't have anything invested in this. I'm simply giving you the perspective of someone who's written about these companies extensively. All right. So Prof G didn't have to be a sneaker industry expert. What has to happen here is we need to understand that Birkenstock is a company. A confident company isn't always a profitable company. Allbirds was a confident company because of faux fandom. Faux fandom. And what I mean by that is because these people in Silicon Valley treated it like a darling and made it a part of their uniform, there was this false confidence for Allbirds. And when they had to open their books and reality hit that they had no real customers outside of a very small niche group of people, they've had to try and adjust and adapt all of this time. A confident company isn't always a profitable company. Now, a competent, confident, and controlled brand, that's what Birkenstock is. Those 3 things: competent, confident, and controlled. That's always a great combination and a trait for future success. And it's important that I establish why Birkenstock is going to be an amazing IPO. And I know somebody's like, whoa, how do you know these things? Well, let's get into it. Here we go. The 5 reasons Birkenstock's IPO will be amazing. 1, manufacturing for Birkenstock is in-house. Allbirds was affected, and I hate to keep comparing this to Allbirds because it's like I'm picking on them and I'm not. Their manufacturers are in Asia. So the supply chain breakdowns that happened during the quarantine, post-quarantine, those things don't affect Birkenstock. Their manufacturing is in-house. If you didn't know that, look this up. Birkenstock has always produced its own footwear. You're talking a 200-year legacy or a 100-year legacy. I don't know how old the company is, but I know this footbed has been around forever. Long before, probably, I'm pretty sure it may be over 200 years old. During the quarantine, right, when consumers were ordering clothes based on leisure and comfort, and post-quarantine, when supply chains wreaked havoc on other brands, Birkenstock's ability to create their footwear in-house proved to be the perfect footwear model. Perfect. The brand opened a new facility this year, and they'll be able to do an even better job with their supply chain and meet consumer demand much faster. Now, when you get a big infusion of cash that happens with an IPO, you can open doors and do all of these different things, but Birkenstock has proven to be a very controlled and disciplined company. 2, brand doors. Birkenstock isn't heavily distributed. Now, they did make a foam injected shoe that they put into a few stores like Foot Locker, but their sales team maintains tight control of pricing, and they will immediately adjust quantities as opposed to allowing retailers to mark down their shoes. One interesting fact is almost 98% of Birkenstock's partners sell their shoes. I think it's 98% have full price sell through at SRP. That's incredible. The number, I don't even think it exists for any other brand, not at that kind of scale. 98% of the shoes sold through their partners' doors sell at SRP. They don't have to go on sale. Because this brand is not overextended in wholesale, they have an opportunity to open more doors informed by their own DTC online data. So if you know that you're selling a lot of shoes in Louisiana, then you know that you can open a location in Louisiana and it will perform well. Because they have so much a lot of their growth over the last few years has been DTC. Birkenstock is amazing as a brand. If you look at the pictures that you see in this article, that's from a Marin store in California. That is one of the most beautiful retail locations I've seen anywhere. When people get to experience this beautiful brand activation inside of these stores, and they can expand and open more doors across the country, which will increase the speed of shipping. Because when you have locations closer to the consumer, people buy it that can't make it there, they can ship and almost do one-day ship. These are things that people don't even talk about because we don't have these conversations. The more doors you have, the faster you can ship to a customer when you have that product in that door. If you can get to one-day shipping with a Birkenstock from Birkenstock, do you know how many people will begin to buy those shoes who probably have never tried them before? And that moves us to our next point. It's number 3, untapped demographics. I'm comfortable talking about race as it relates to sneakers and footwear. I don't have a problem with talking about it. So I'll say this while others won't say it out loud. White people buy Birkenstocks. There are not that many people of color rocking the brand. So the next time you look around, look at the feet of the people that you're walking around and kicking it with. More than likely, the brothers and sisters and the Latinos, and they're not rocking Birkenstocks. Now, the Birkenstock footbed, and I've done videos on this. If you look at this channel and you've seen these videos I've done, that Birkenstock footbed is an experience. And not even Birkenstock, as big as they are in talking about their brand, they have not done a fantastic job of telling their story to a more diverse customer. So imagine the idea of a completely new demographic no longer thinking that these are simply Jesus sandals. When Birkenstock opens doors closer to the consumer, those new brand doors are going to create a more diverse consumer base. And those people will begin wearing the shoes, adding to the overall profit for the company. Untapped demographics. Number 4 is recovery footwear. Now, this is something, like I said, I've been talking about on the site. Longtime veteran sneaker guy, James Van Dyne. And I hope I got that name right. I feel bad if I didn't. My bad, Jim. Recovery footwear. Birkenstock is beginning to push the importance of their footbed design for athletic recovery. This is a growing market as more people became runners and hikers during the pandemic. Crocs benefited, UFOs benefited. They've capitalized on post-athletic performance footwear, right? And Birkenstock has the ability to do this in a considerable manner. I explained in a video on this channel a year ago when my daughter got plantar fasciitis and we had to shut her down. Actually, 2 years ago, I did that video and I talked about the fact that I bought her a pair of Birks to walk around in while she recovered for 2 weeks. And she went on to win the high jump championship for middle school. These are things that Birkenstock, they have this in their toolkit and they have yet to really utilize it. as good as they are, they're just like New Balance was. Do you remember when New Balance didn't do endorsements? You remember you had NBA players looking for the shoes and they couldn't get them, the White Mamba? Birkenstock doesn't do endorsements right now. But with the power of considerable funding, they will undoubtedly ramp up marketing spend, and that should equate to greater brand recognition and more sales. That recovery footwear segment could be huge for Birkenstocks. Number 5, the final thing, and we're going to wrap it up. Moving beyond sandals. Now, what does that mean? Right now, I'm sure somebody that's in the sneaker world that looks at this channel and you know how I talk about different things. You probably thought I was going to say that Birkenstock has the ability to do more collabs. And it's true. Birkenstock has partnered with luxury brands and sneaker boutiques to create sandals, which resell for as much as $600 a pair. As a matter of fact, the Stussy collab in Stussy Dusty Pink, that color, has an average sold price of $541. There have been pairs of that same shoe that sold for $1,000. Birkenstock has the potential in offering their footbed as an insert. Now, you can sell an insert. You know how you go find Dr. Scholl's in the stores? Birkenstock can actually create inserts and make an entire business out of shoe inserts. These are things that people who are not in the industry won't talk about, that they should talk about. That's important. But this is the thing. The collabs that they have are small, and they provide brand heat and a cool factor. But let's be serious, Birkenstock is really known for the Arizona. It's their sandals, right? With an injection of cash and this big new factory, the company has the potential in offering their footbed in cold weather shoes. And this is what I mean. You go to the website now and you see this boot. This is not what you would expect to see from Birkenstock, but you can see clearly that there's an entire cork midsole here on this Chelsea boot. Well, they call it the Prescott. But because Birkenstock is capable of adapting all of their footbed technology into more shoes that are worn year-round, right now UGG and other outdoor brands control the fall and the winter. Once Birkenstock is capable of placing energy into creating a staple winter shoe, that will move Birks from simply a warm weather spring option to a year-round brand. The fact that they haven't capitalized on these things yet makes Birkenstock one of the... Birkenstock could be the not AMC. That's a little... Let me rephrase that. Birkenstock will be the anti-Allbirds, and it will be better than the on-running IPO has been. And I'll bet Birkenstock's footbed on that. That's the end of this video. If you appreciated it, hit the thumbs up button. Leave questions if you have questions. This is not my forte. I am not a licensed trader or any of that kind of stuff. You could take what I say with a grain of salt. But if I had $1 million right now, I would pour it all into, I would try to get in early some kind of way if it was possible. I would be in there because that brand and that IPO is going to be fantastic. I'll see you guys on the next one. That's it. And like, share, and subscribe. If this was a good one for you, man, I'll do more videos like this. And I have to start doing. I have these great articles on the site, and a lot of the times people don't even know that the article's on the site. It's a dope website. Go to the website. See you guys. Peace.